Welcome back to Paddy's Golf Tips. We're going to talk about reading the greens today.
The winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Padraig Harrington.
A lot of people are maybe fooled into believing that, golfers see something when it comes to reading the greens, but it's actually pretty much experience. We've seen it happen before, we know it's happened, and from experience, we understand what the golf ball is going to do. So, firstly, when you read the greens, you start from when you're walking up to the green. If you get to see your shot running on the green or a playing partner's chip, if you get to see their putt on the green, always watch everybody else's and watch how the ball, especially as it's dying, what direction it's going and what speed it's going at. Okay, so watch everybody else. Secondly, you've got to watch, is there water nearby? And here we have a body of water here. Clearly every green has to drain the water off the green, and the most likely place it's going to drain to is into the nearest water, nearest river, nearest lake, whatever, or nearest drain. It's going to drain off somewhere, so always watch for those. And the predominant, some golf courses will say it's the local mountain and it runs down to the valley. Whatever it is, there is something there, be aware of that. Now, when it actually comes to being on the green, how do you read your individual putt, okay? The very first and most important thing is the colour of the greens, the contrast in the greens. I actually use a product, I use I Promise Visual Pro, which is vitamins that help me improve the contrast, or help me improve my eyes for the contrast so I can see sharper. But to be honest, you will be able to see this. You should be able to see it once you get experience. So as I stand here looking at this putt, it's very evident that the start of this putt is quite dark. So as I put here, it's reasonably neutral here, but I can see it's quite dark in this area. So that means if it's dark, it means you're putting uphill. If it's pale, it means it's downhill. So from here I can see I'm slightly up and then it gets very pale, so I'm actually very fast and downhill. So it's easy, I don't even need to walk over there. If I walk over there, obviously it's going to reverse the colours. But every time I walk on the green, I look for the contrast first. Anywhere you see a change of colour is to change a break. Pale is downhill, dark is uphill. And as you walk around, you will see those change. That is the most important, well, it's right up there as being the most important thing. Secondly, we're going to go down there and actually look at the cup, but I don't even need to go as far. If you look at where my ball is, right? Come on in close here, I'm going to show you something. So, if there's an old cup beside my ball here. Now, ignore the actual plug that's going in. What we're looking at is the actual bit of green that was here before they put the plug back in. If a part of it is burnt, and you can see here that it's all burnt out here, it's brown, it's not knitted in, it's beautifully knitted in here, no problem. It's all broken here, right? That means, believe it or not, where the hole is broken means the slope is going that way. So I don't even need to walk around here. I know that the grain here is going this way, and the grain, 99.9% of the time, the grain will follow the slope. But sometimes it will follow the wind, and sometimes it will follow the drain. If there's an more or less the wind or very, very strong sun. But you don't need to worry about that. Just if it's the colour, will 99% keep you happy. And I can see this is broken here, so the break at this point is going that way. I can tell that by looking at the hole, at this hole. But if we walk down to the main hole, we're going to walk down here first. We're going to show you something, and this is kind of ideal. Now, clearly I'm not allowed to do this in a competition, but the low side of the hole, see the way it's all frayed and broken? Okay, the top side isn't. That's very firm, no problem. The low side, it's all broken. So when you see one side of the cup burnt, broken, brown, that means that's the low point. So everything here is breaking that way. This is nice and firm, this is broken. So I know if I have a like a 3-footer from here, I know I've got to aim away from the low point and maybe aim left lip. If I'm over here, and this is without doing anything else, I know if I'm standing here, I've got to aim away from that broken bit and aim over to this top lip from 3 feet. okay, or 4 feet. So without doing anything, I can see that. But actually, how do I read a putt up close? So if I have a short putt here, here's like a 4 foot putt. How do I go about reading it? Again, colour is essential, okay? In this case, I'm putting across it. I already know that the colour is going very much that way. If I was below the hole here, I could see how dark it is, and we'll show that in a second. I know this is broken, so I also know this is going to be breaking towards that water. I know there's a body of water there, so I know it's breaking there. But actually, when I get over, how I do it is you go a lot by feel first. I walk in, I mark my ball, pick it up, and instinctively this is done while, you know, you don't have to wait till it's your turn. You do this as you're marking. I set my putter down behind it, I settle my feet, okay, and I look up. Now, through evolution, everybody's going to put their feet 90 degrees towards the slope, or else you'd be off balance. So we have this ability to settle ourselves 90 degrees where we're imbalanced against the slope. And when you look up, you generally would be looking in the right area. So when I stand here and settle my feet and look up, I'm looking about an inch right of the hole, just over an inch right. Okay, now that gives me an idea of what the putt is doing. That's what it feels like, okay? Now there's one thing about feel. If you stand over a short putt and you feel uncomfortable, you've gone with too little break. You haven't given enough power, you haven't gone high enough. You'll only feel uncomfortable when you've gone with too little. If you've gone too high in a putt, you've gone with too much break, you'll hit good putts that they might go in the top lip, they might miss. But people who are bad putters, who have a yip, who have a big, generally they're under reading the putts and trying to force them in, and that never feels good, okay? So generally bad putters start off by taking too little break, okay? That's just a little aside. If you feel uncomfortable, you haven't given enough break. So my feel says about there, an inch out. So then I walk back and I have a look. I've got something in my head though. So I'm not blindly bending down to look. I've got an idea that this putt is an inch right of the hole. I bend down and look. Now, when I'm looking, I might have going to see, it's not going to be far away from what I feel like it is. So it's going to be an inch, it's going to be on the lip, or it's going to be 2 inches right. It's not far away. So I am going to look and I modify what I feel, but my feel usually is correct. So I'm going to stick this time with an inch right of the hole. Okay. And I'm going to take this flag out. You know, I'm old school here, guys. I can't, I don't handle leaving the flag in. So an inch right of the hole, I've got my feel. I walk in, and you'll see a lot, most professional golfers, it really has got to this day, very few of them take practice swings on short putts. They'll take them on a long putt for field, but on a 3-4 footer, they prefer getting set up properly, and it's easier to get in and lined up to your target. Just like on a driver or a iron shot, it's easier to do that from behind the golf ball. So I'll walk in, set up. I've already got a good feel for it. Inch right. Perfect. So that's what there is to reading the greens. The contrast, the colour of the greens. Pale is downhill, dark is uphill. The broken, burnt out hole, that's the low side of the cup. Aim away from it. These mightn't show up as well in the north of America where there's not good sunlight. Southern America, you'll definitely see it, right? Southern United States, anywhere where there's strong sunlight, you will see the broken hole. Feel is very important. Do not go against your feel, especially on a short putt. On a longer putt, sometimes it has more than one break, you might have to, but on a short putt, your feel is usually correct. Stick with it. If you don't feel comfortable, you've underborrowed, you've taken too little break, go with more until you feel comfortable. Good putters don't underborrow, bad putters have always underborrowed. Lastly, get an idea. There's another way of doing that as well. I did it by, you know, old school way, by putting my putter down behind the ball to get a feel for the break. You see this new one now, which is called aim point, where they walk up along and straddle the hole. And again, I talked about from the side you will go 90 degrees to the hole, so when you look up you should be good. Same here. I can feel that I'm leaning this way. It's just instinct. I suppose you get better with a bit of practice too. I know there's quite a bit of a slope here, So I will use this myself on some short putts if I think, you know, if I'm in doubt. I can feel a big slope here. There's at least 3 degrees of slope under my feet here, and I know that 3 degree slope over this, I don't go into the actual numbers. I just know 3 degrees is a big swing, and to be honest, I could go well outside the hole here. You know, I could go 4 or 5 inches if I'm dribbling it. I don't need to on my normal putt. I'd probably go 1 or 2 inches outside, but again, I can get a feel this way, I can get a feel that way, and then I look at the putt. So the main thing is we're trying to get as many keys and cues to the putt before we look, so that we're not, it really is, the last look is about getting a visual for what you want to do. The more ideas about what the putt is going to do, the better, because if you have that, you're instinctive, you're confident, and you'll go, yeah, that's what it is, and you'll go with it and you'll believe it. And remember, it's far more important when you're putting to believe in what you're doing than to being right. Okay, hitting a tentative putt on the right line is not going to help you. You're far better off hitting a confident putt on the line that you believe, even if it's not the line everybody else is taking. You'll hold more putts by being confident. This is a great example of the contrast that a lot of people will come across on the golf course. So I'm putting up and over a tier here, and as I look up here, up the slope, we can see it's very dark going up the hill. So that means I'm going uphill, it's quite slow. But look, when we get to the top, if I'm putting to my golf ball, we can see the change of colour. So we can see where the break is starting to change. So that's uphill, and it's because it's gone pale, it's either flat or downhill on the far side. So this is not actually that slow a putt. It's uphill and maybe a little downhill to my ball. So without walking up there, I can tell I've got an uphill putt, and then it's getting faster as it gets over the top. So I didn't ram it by the hole, okay? Don't have to do much. I was able to tell uphill and then fast. Whereas a lot of people hitting this would think it's all uphill. But if you see pale, it means it's downhill. I think that's a perfect example. Anytime the contrast in the green, the colour of the green changes, the break is changing. That's where the slopes are changing, where the drains are on the green. So when you see a change, it's a change of pace or a change of slope, whatever way you want to look at it.